totally get it. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Before we start looking at the icons, since I don't know a lot about the icons, but I'd like to tell you basically how I got interested in collecting them.
okay. Yes, that would be great, Jack. Tell us how you got interested in collecting them, and I will move over here where you can see me too. So I've got to get I never do this.
Remember to
There.
okay.
When I first met Mary, she had been to Poland before that and had bought a few icons. And I thought they were very nice, and I hadn't seen many before, except at the Russian Orthodox Church in Cordova. Later, we took a trip to Poland over Easter vacation, and when in Krakow, we visited several Orthodox churches and admired many of the beautiful icons. When not far from the church, we found an icon shop, and they actually made icons in the back, and they were selling them out in the front. So I bought two of them, one for my mother and one for my previous wife. And later we took these to Alaska and hung them in our house there. And friends had seen those icons when I had them here, and they started to give us icons. And later, for our wedding, we had icons given to us by Mary's relatives, and they were modern icons, not like the ones we bought in Krakow. Well, when we were in Spain, our friends saw our icons and gave us icons that they collected when they were on trip. They bring back a gift for us. For several years, we also attended an icon festival at a Russian Orthodox church here in Youngstown. And each year, the priest, and that's where I found the icons that I wanted to buy, dedicated to the fishermen. And we also bought the one about the Alaska Indian saint. So that's how we came across most of these icons. We also have when we were at the Icon Festival, we were disappointed that they didn't talk more about the icons. They talked about church policy, church problems. But at that meeting, we met a fellow, and he became a friend of ours, and he took us to his church for an icon blessing. Mm-hmm. And people in the community brought their icons and had them walked around in a circle as the priest blessed them. Mm-hmm. So that's like we find like religious, but we admire the work that went into making the icons. Mm-hmm. A lot of those icons that we have here are kind of tourist souvenirs, I guess.
Yeah.
But Mary will tell you about a lot of icons that we bought here in Youngstown.
Yes, I will. And did you want to show us which one you would like to have some information about before I tell you anything more?
Maybe it'd be good for you to go ahead and tell us, and then we'll go to the icons, okay?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I'm a minister's daughter. My dad was a minister right here in Austintown, and I've always been surrounded with things of the church. And of course, that's my life, really. And
which church were you raised in?
Yes, I was. It was Austintown Community Evangelical and Reformed Church.
Okay.
And I was born in 1945, so that gives you a little timeline there. Okay. And I've always gone to beautiful churches in Europe. I've traveled all through Europe and the Orient. We sent you several that are from Japan. They're woodblock prints. It shows, I believe, the Jesus's disciples. And there's another one that I do believe, I haven't seen it for a while, but it's the Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus. And they're all woodblock prints printed in Japan. And I bought them because I like them. Oh, and then one other thing. I do believe we sent you some very small ones that were in like a velvet case and it had a little lock on it. Those are traveling icons.
Yeah. But tell her about the Russian boys.
Okay. at my church, which is Austintown Community United Church of Christ at this time, there was a young girl that was playing the organ. And she and her parents, who were both ministers, had a mission in Russia that they helped the children. One of the boys, he was a young teenager, had been playing in the back of the schoolyard where a railroad track was. And one day a train was coming, but he didn't hear the whistle, or I don't really know all of the details, but the train ran over his legs and he had to have them both amputated. All right. When she came to our church to visit, she brought some icons and she hoped that people would buy them. The money from that purchase would go towards this boy getting some prosthetic legs. And the joy of it all is that eventually they brought him to our home church and he was able to walk with crutches down the aisle of the church. And that just brings me a lot of joy.
And then a few years later, they brought another boy who had the same problem, and they were raising money to pay for the trip mainly. There's some organization donated, one hospital donated the work.
The time that the doctor spent, yeah.
But they would put all these icons out on the table and for people to bid on. Well, people weren't bidding on it at all. So I went around and put my name on a lot of them, trying to beat the bid. And but what happened is that I ended up being the highest bidder on many.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's a good thing to be the highest. Well, that's okay. That's a good thing to be the
But
highest at.
both boys got new legs,
New legs,
and
yeah.
so that worked out nice.
Yes, it did.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think we should show some of these icons at this point. So I'm going to turn the camera around here and try to walk with it to, it's going to be a little difficult for me to see what, so I thought we could start with the one that you have in honor of your parents, Jack.
Yes, that's the one we bought in Krakow.
Krakow, Poland. Mm-hmm.
And it has some information on the back, I know about it. So it's a new one painted. I guess these all are new mostly.
Paintings are new, but the wood is antique.
And
There might have been something else in that frame at one time. So the frame is original and then they painted over it to just bring out the color.
the left right now is the one that's dedicated to Lois DeVille.
Yeah. Yes.
And Lois was your sister?
She was my first wife,
Your first wife, okay, okay.
and she passed away.
So was she born in Cordova like you?
No, she was from Ellensburg, Washington.
Ellen?
Yeah. Met her overseas in Japan.
Oh, wow. So were you born in Cordova, Jack, or in Catella?
Cordova.
Cordova, okay. So then moving on to, or did you want to say anything more about the one dedicated to Lois?
No, but
Where did that come from?
Okay.
Where she said, where'd it come from?
Krakow.
Mhm.
We bought the same
Same
store there.
Yeah, same store for both of those.
And then over on the right, I have one that is in the
Fisherman.
Yes. No, I bought that one at the Icon Festival. And I bought, I bought one for the church and one for each of my brothers because they were fishermen.
Uh-huh.
a really beautiful one.
And was this the festival in Youngstown?
The festival was in a small
Yeah.
town next to Youngstown
Yeah.
called Warren, Ohio.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And was it at a Russian Orthodox or a Greek Orthodox church?
Russian.
Russian, okay. And then this one of the Virgin Mary.
I bought that one when I went to Poland, and I was visiting a family who had a connection. Well, my brother had married into that family. The young girl had come over to the United States when it was still under communism, and she was going to work in a restaurant. My brother worked in a business close to her restaurant, and that's how they met. So I went and visited her family in Poland, and I saw this one in a shop. I loved it. I brought it home, and that's before Jack and I met. And I eventually took it with me when I went overseas, and he really liked it too. And now you have it, and I'm so grateful. It has a perfect place to hang for the rest of its life.
It's quite stunning with the silver and the.
Silver work, yes.
Yeah.
Thought so too.
What town in Poland was that?
That was, okay, now let me think.
A
Let's see.
little town.
Stalola Vola. That's it. Stalola starts with an, just, I guess, just spell it phonetically. Stalola Vola. It's in southern Poland. Actually, it's not too far from the Russian border.
Wow.
Okay,
And
that,
this one,
Yeah, we bought that at a flea market in,
was it over in Europe?
no, in Spain.
In Spain. Oh, in Spain. Okay, at a flea market in Spain. I mean, it's amazing that you find icons everywhere.
But I asked the fellow who was selling this, and I said, well, where did it come from? He said, well, it's been in the family for a long, long time, but no one's survived. So they just, the fellow went to the house and bought everything in the house, and then he's selling those things.
Oh, okay.
But he said it's a very old one.
Mhm.
so I'll move over. These must be the block prints that you bought in Japan, Mary?
That is correct. And I told you my connection to all kinds of religious art. That's why I bought both of those. And then I had them framed. And I had them hanging upstairs in one of our rooms. We call it the memory room, because that's where we keep pictures of all of our loved ones and the new generation as well. And so now they're with you. So I just thought they were both beautifully done, especially the fact all of the disciples look like they're Japanese, don't they?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
But there are a lot of Christian churches in Japan as well.
Yeah, no, they're quite beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so now down on our shelf here is where we have most of the rest. And I'm going to rearrange myself before we continue so that I can hold this more carefully. So the first one,
I can't tell.
this framed one of, it has.
Oh, we bought some
Okay, you
our
remember.
trip.
The book, Keller,
Okay, do you remember what country that was?
Yes.
it's a portrait of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
Trinity College Library, Dublin.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
Dublin,
yes.
we went to Ireland.
Yeah. When we retired, my mother had always wanted to go on the trail of her family roots, was she's Scotch, Irish, and English, and a little Welsh too. We bought this at Trinity Church. It was a shop that's connected to the church. You know, many old churches all around the world have little shops that are
Right.
connected when you first walk in. And my mother was just so thrilled to see that. So she liked it. I liked it right away. And that's why that was purchased. Trinity Church in Dublin, Ireland.
And was your mother on the trip with you?
She was. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, she was. She got to go to all these special places she'd only dreamed of going. And I'll tell you also, We went first class on the entire journey. It was with a company out of the United States, but they took such good care of us. And I will always, always, always remember what a wonderful time we had, but especially my mother had.
That's really wonderful.
Thank
And then the next one is this really pretty little, on a wooden plaque, I think.
That one was from the Russian Orthodox Church when they brought all their icons over in Warren, Ohio. I liked it too. I like anything that has the gold or silver background. And that's just a very religious priest. I was trying to think exactly what they call the reverends in that church, and I couldn't come up with the exact name. Maybe Bell knows.
I think they're called priests.
Okay, priests.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they are called priests.
And
And
Because the nuns also in that particular church, they also wear long black dresses with a corded waistline and a special head covering too.
And what this, tell me just a couple more details on where you got this one.
This one, go ahead, you tell.
In Warren, Ohio.
I think it was at the
At the
Icon
Icon
Festival that
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
out earlier. Yeah.
Mhm.
This one of the ones that you bid on and you,
No.
okay.
It was hanging on the wall and we liked it and it was for sale. And it was a good size too. It's about the size of a book. So that's why.
So then we have one that's in a nice gold frame of Christ, I believe, or is it one of the disciples? I can't tell. Saint David
Our friend,
of Wales, yes.
yeah, but we liked it because we belong to the Wales, I'm not the Wales.
The Welsh.
The Welsh club here.
And their saint is Saint David. In fact, just recently it was Saint David's Day.
So I bought that and framed it, and every time we went to the meeting, I'd take the picture with us and put it in the table.
Yeah.
Because at that time we didn't think I was Welsh, and in the meantime I found out my DNA said I was Welsh.
Part Welsh. Yeah.
When I found it out, the first thing I did was call the head of the organization, tell him I was there as Welsh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move him and put in one of the traveling icon ones.
Oh, yes. Now I bought that one for Jack. It was a surprise because we took a lot of trips, even though we were basically based there for the week because we were school teachers, but we traveled and he could put that in his suitcase and just always have one with him and maybe set it up on the desk in the hotel room or whatever. But isn't it lovely how they put the features in beautiful painting and then surround it with either metal or gold painting? And the velvet case too, I really like that.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very cool to close up very nicely. So,
And what I didn't realize, back in, thousands of years ago, people of that faith carried those with them in their pocket or in their saddlebags or in their little pouch, whatever. And that was very common to do.
And you bought this as a present for Jack?
Correct, yes.
And where did you get it?
I bought it in Spain. I believe I bought it in Spain. Mhm. It's one of those little,
another
trip to-
lovely little treasure.
mhm,
We bought that in
mhm.
I can't see what it is.
It's a tiny,
It's
Oh,
Christ.
that one, right. in front of you.
yeah,
And I like the way they close up too, and then you could even put a little candle, a votive candle in front of it, and it could be a little altar.
Yeah, what,
Yeah.
I was looking for figuring out what it was, and tell me again about that one.
yeah, tell her again about that one.
Well, Mary had bought that one icon, and so then we started to find these small miniature ones around.
In Spain.
Oh, so she bought it in Spain.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see them all grouped together like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, for a while we had them up by the altar, but then we decided we really need to hang them. And so, anyway, we're in the process of getting that done. So,
Well, you're doing a great job. And you know, it might be nice, like on Christmas Eve or something like that, to just put little votive candles or even those artificial candles so you don't have any fear of burning the place down in front of each one.
Yeah.
And they illuminate the pictures, I think.
mhm.
The next one is a slightly bigger one, but also it looks like sort of a traveling one.
I'm trying to think about, let's see how it looks close. Do you remember that one, Jack? I really like the outside. We are hardly ever looked at the outside because we always had it hanging up at home. But look at the back, boy, that is beautiful.
That's Russian or Greek letters at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh, but I think you bought that one yourself.
Yeah, I bought it in Portugal.
Portugal. Wow. We'd
We
have-
weren't far from Portugal. It was what, maybe 2-hour drive to go over the Portuguese border.
right.
Mhm.
It's a very, very nice, very elegant lines it has.
It does. It's
Okay, then the next one is a silver.
Yeah.
In
It's a,
silver and
this one you had. I think.
yeah, it's the Madonna, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard for me to see the details. I see the face and a hand, and on the other side, I think just the fingertips. But it's much on the order of the other silver one that I bought in Poland. So I'm going to say I went back to Poland a number of times. This one is also from Poland.
And she had a friend who came to visit her, and she brought things like this to sell to the other teachers
Mm-hmm.
to pay for her trip.
To pay for her trip and then for her to have spending money when she was in Germany. That's when I was a teacher in Mainz, Germany. And she came over and she spoke fluent English. I'm just so amazed at people that can speak all these different languages.
But this girl said she wanted to go to the market and tell her what she said about banana. She had never seen it.
Oh yeah. Her mother came over. Now remember, Poland was still under communism. And I asked her, she took the train. It's 22 hours to take the train from Frankfurt, Germany to her town in Poland. And actually she picked it up in Warsaw. But anyway, I brought her to my apartment. I lived in a little village and I said, Pani Halina, what would you like to do now? Would you like to just rest or have some lunch? And she said, Mary, I like to go to the market. And so I took her downtown. Thank goodness it was Saturday, open air market. And then she saw bananas. She said, I have not seen a banana for 5 years. And I said, oh, let's buy some. And so we did and brought them back and had some cut up bananas for lunch. But you know what? People don't realize how fortunate we are as Americans. And they just do without in other countries and they just try to deal with it. But to not have seen a banana for 5 years is really something to me.
Yeah, it definitely is much harder for people in other countries. We're so fortunate.
And was it Mainz, Germany that you were at?
Yes, it was Mainz, like Zorro.
Yeah,
It's on
I got it right.
the river.
So we've got this pretty little one of the Madonna again, or Mary, and
Would you?
Yeah, a friend was on a trip, and they were in Portugal, and they brought that back.
Another Portuguese, very, very pretty.
Mhm.
And almost the same view, but much bigger and in a wooden frame.
Oh, I love that one. I think you framed that though, didn't you, Jack?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
and that was a print from a friend of ours, or icon from a friend, and I've just framed it.
But you know what? It's always nice to invite people over to see what you collect, because who knows, if they take a trip, they might see something and say, oh, I'm going to buy this for the DeVilles. They really like icons. So that was a lucky thing for us.
That's very, very beautiful. And
And where did that one come from?
Spain?
I think it's Spain.
Spain. We think it's Spain.
actually, it has some
Oh, just on the back.
tropation to the wonder working icon. And it is a little, almost like a poem, the wonder working icon of Our Lady of Livonia.
Oh, that almost sounds Italian though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you recall where you put that on the back when you framed it?
I just remember a friend giving it to us.
It was a gift. We'll say it was a gift from someone because they knew that we liked icons.
It's quite beautiful. And the frame is really wonderful too.
I think so too. Thank you.
Okay, then this one is really hard to show you. Try to hold it up and see if I can.
Oh, yes. I bought that originally for my dad. And as I told you earlier, my dad was a minister. And I believe I got that in Greece. In Greece, I will tell you that, you know, it looks like ivory, but it's not real ivory. But I just love the style of it, the way the beads hung down and the way you could hang it on a little nail on the wall. And Dad always had it hanging up in our front hall when we lived in the church parsonage.
Yeah, it's really, really delicate looking and
Mm-hmm.
quite beautiful. It does look Greek to me in the what do you call it? The etchings, the
Yes, it does.
drawings.
Mhm. And the fact that it has 4 separate pictures on it, I thought, wow, that really is inclusive.
Wow.
But I'm sure you all know that there are so many souvenir shops for Americans everywhere in the world. And that's why it's so easy to buy things, because they're always there hoping that you'll buy something from their vendor.
This is true.
Okay, now this
We have
is
two
cool.
more that are very similar, probably from the
Icon Festival.
Icon Festival.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
And
it came from
he's-
Warren,
Now-
Ohio.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And the people who made those were there selling them.
Yeah.
The priests.
The priests, they have an art school at the seminary. And so there are people there, maybe they're not training to be a priest, but they're working towards a degree in
Yeah.
religious education.
And this summer we're planning to go visit them.
We do? We are? Oh, okay.
I have to.
Because I can't remember where they are. Is it up in Minnesota or something like that?
Close, yeah.
Close to Minnesota.
And then this last one is also from the Icon
Yes.
Festival.
And you can see on the end, and then the red. And that's Peter the
Aleut.
Aleut. Yeah, that's why Jack bought that one, because of the Aleut.
Now I gave one of those to each of my brothers and sisters. And just recently I bought one for the Orthodox Church here in Youngstown. And we were at the bank this morning where the priest works.
Yeah, he's a
And
banker too.
He said he can't afford to just be a priest. Anyway, he said that this next week, they're having a blessing for that icon, and Mary and I are going to it.
Yes, he
Oh.
invited come and be there in the front row, and maybe he'll even call on us to do or say something, because I don't think any people that go to the church have ever heard of an alley-oop before. But now they're going to have this same icon hanging up in their church.
Very, very nice. Yeah, that's wonderful to have the connection to Alaska.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
When I bought this last one, the shopkeeper gave me a little brochure on it, and I'll be putting it in the mail to you.
Cool. That would be very nice to have. So I'm gonna try to step back.
Paper. So it's not too big. Maybe you would even want to frame that and hang it next to the icon. I don't know. But I'll read you the first sentence. In September of 1794, a group of 8 monks from Russia's Valam Monastery completed a long and hazardous journey to the shores of Alaska. Yes, you'll have to maybe hang that part up. And then it goes on to tell the rest of the story. But I think that's very nice too. Okay.
Yeah,
And did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
well,
Were there any others that you would like a comment or two on?
I think we've covered all of them now. I'll just do one more picture to show you all that are laid out here and on the wall at this point. But like I say, we will have to try to work to get a little shelf built that maybe we can put some of them on and hang the others. So, but this has been wonderful to get educated about where you bought them or what the stories behind them are. And it's really wonderful. We really appreciate your gift.
And I guess when I talked to you, Jack, you were mentioning there were 4 that you really wanted to be sure we featured. And I'm assuming it's the one to dedicated your parents, and what were the other ones?
And to my wife,
To Lois?
those 2 you're looking at right now,
Yeah.
and then this icon that has Peter the Great Alliot, Peter the Alliot on it.
That's just 3 though. Was there one more?
No,
Oh, just those 3 then.
Well, yes, those will be wonderful. We will be sure to have them hanging always. And
I think the ones about the dedicated to the fishermen though would be ideal place for it.
yes, yep. The one up here, this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, just about any country that has Christianity in it, they have we went to Cuba and there was a saint that watched over fishermen, and it was made out of paper mache. We bought it. But, so we have that hanging up in our house right now. So we just like to commemorate things that we enjoy. We don't always know the particulars, like who the artist actually was or how old the icon is, but we just enjoy them and we feel a reverence about them.
well, you certainly have taken good care of these, and it's wonderful for you to take the time to share with us some of the stories behind them.
And
Well,
yeah, we're also hoping to have, once we get them all displayed, have invite the community.
oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, our big in April, I guess, is our anniversary, but maybe we'll do something this summer. That might be. We're
yeah.
getting ready.
I was thinking more in August after we've got the new roof on.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. That would be really nice.
You know, the icon that's the oldest there is the one we bought in the flea market. And he said it's between 75 to 80 years old. He was sure about that.
And that one is which one again?
It's 3 panels.
That, I think it's the one on the right, from the Spanish family. Is that the one?
I think that's the one.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And that one's 70 to 80 years old.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far back as the fella could go with that family.
But you know, many families worldwide, they have little altars in their homes. I know the Oriental people do.
Yeah.
And well, we used to have all those. Can you imagine? We had all of those hanging up in one of our rooms upstairs.
I built shelves along the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Little,
shelves
like-
would be really, really useful.
yes, that would be. And just with a little groove, you know, right along the edge so that the icon doesn't slip off.
Right.
Jack made those himself. So maybe somebody in Cordova who's very good at woodworking could make them for you.
Yeah, I think of Mark Heidebrink, who did some woodwork for us already. He likes woodwork and he has a special fondness for St. George's, so I'll have to talk to him.
And these traveling ones, like when I'm visiting people that are sick,
Mhm.
I take them with me to set up with the Holy Communion.
Oh,
Uh,
good. Good.
That's a
So
one.
they're really wonderful for that.
Mm.
And sometimes I hope Nancy won't mind it. Sometimes I take them home and just set them on the desk while I'm working. But I do bring them back.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah,
Things should be used, in my view.
yeah.
So
Well, I-
Cease, do you have any questions, things that we've missed as we've gone along?
No, but
No, this has just been really enjoyable to find out where they've been discovered or been given and just to know what treasures we have in our midst.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
but I hope when they go out to the villages, you can take the Saints of America with you.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would appreciate that, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
So, oops, trying to. Well, I hope my camera work hasn't been too wobbly. We'll see how it comes out. In any case, it's been real fun to talk with you, and I think I will stop the recording at this point unless you have anyone have anything more they want to add?
I have one thing. You might not know it or not, but my mother was one half Aleut.
Oh, wow, cool.
That makes me a quarter. That I was especially interested in that one.
Your mother was a wonderful person, both your mother and father. I got to
Thank you.
interview them once for the newspaper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
They
Uh-huh.
liked you too.
Yes, they did. Mm-hmm. And Jack's father was very worldly, although he didn't really travel that much. But you know how he knew all those things? He read National Geographic. And so Jack would sometimes be at a country and his father would say, well, did you climb up those steps over there? And Jack said, well, how'd you know about that, Dad? He said, hey, I read it in National Geographic.
Yeah, I was in Portugal.
Yeah.
And he said, didn't you go? I had a picture. He recognized the building. He said, didn't you go down the street there? I said, no. And he said, at the bottom is a fisherman's church.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is really cool. National Geographic was, it's still a wonderful magazine.
Oh, is it so? It really, really is. Oh, and I must add one more thing. In Spain, they have churches dedicated to just fishermen along the seawall. And we went in several of those. People like Magellan, they have their names all up on the wall there inside the church. And I was just amazed at that.